Before you, choose wisely.
Looking for solutions. People on the north side tonight responding after what appeared to be a teenage takeover in the streets.
Police and community members hoping it's not a sign of what's to come this summer.
Nate Rogers live with more. Nate.
Yeah, Don and Corey, lots of frustration and even outrage here in the Old Town tonight following that crazy incident yesterday. Many folks saying they just want those answers after living in this neighborhood for so many years. They definitely want solutions.
Well, I'm not pleased about it at all. I mean, crime has gone through the roof. I've lived in this area since 1964. I've never seen it so bad. I want solutions. Ms. Mayor, Kim Fox, Tim Evans, Pritzker, you live right in this area. Do something.
At tonight's community safety meeting, residents continued discussions demanding more cameras, more lighting, and more police patrols. It all comes one day after this chaotic scene near North Avenue Beach. An estimated 400 young people spilling out into the street after what the alderman labeled an illegal party shut down. A flyer that spread on social media seemingly encouraged attendees to bring alcohol and drugs. Police got wind of the event beforehand and secured all entrances to the beach. Nearby pedestrian bridges secured as well. Folks were seen climbing lifeguard towers and on top of CTA buses. 43rd Ward Alderman Michelle Smith says Chicago police did an excellent job de-escalating what could have been a very bad situation.
I saw reports of people fighting. There weren't any fights. There were people milling, and there were young people doing things that jumping on cars and twerking. And the police said, if you don't stop, we'll arrest you all. And they stopped. So I think that it was a very appropriate use of police discretion.
I got you.
No.
In an ever-changing world, one would argue what happens to a world where lawlessness abounds and where reason, civility, and love for your brothers and sisters become a thing of the past. What are we experiencing in this current world that we live in, where it appears that lawlessness appears to be at an all-time high, where love appears to have dissipated or being dissipated, and where the lack of regard and resolve in humanity is greater from a dog than it is from human beings? Is what we're experiencing something spiritual? Is it something that supersedes the natural? Is it supernatural? Why are we seeing an all-time occurrence of lawlessness manifesting itself in these modern times? And what can we learn from this based on this ongoing phenomenon that appears to be exploding right before our eyes?
Before there was the manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was. I was that signal male crying out in the wilderness for justice and equality for those that are downtrodden and broken, those that are voiceless. I was the kosher clinician. Before I was the kosher clinician on the internet. My plight and my war cry for justice and humanity is nothing fake. but I've always been kosher. Now sit back and get this kosher funk. Hello, everyone. Is there equality in America, fact or fantasy? First of all, I would like to salute all fellow human beings and most graciously those who are beacons of light for justice and righteousness. To vocally explain the tenets of equality, fact or fantasy, I must begin with the combination of two alphabets, I and F, which spells There's no respect of person, but gives protection to all them that fear him. So therefore I ask you this profound and non-scholastic question. If there was equality in America, will I be standing here today? You decide, fact or fantasy. All right.
This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition.
Fire for your mind. Kosher clinician.
If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Asking fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters acting like vultures. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
Okay, guys, we're gonna have a good show tonight. I'm not gonna be with you guys too long as I usually do because I'm very busy. But we're gonna talk about this ongoing phenomena, guys. The ongoing phenomena that we're having this ongoing phenomenon that we see, guys, is something called lawlessness. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. The world appears to be gone wild, and the world appears to be on steroids when it comes down to good behavior. There was a time, guys, when I was growing up, and when you guys were growing up, and growing up in the past, we saw things, and some would say it's because of the broader media. We're seeing it now. But I think that's not necessarily true because the broader media not only reported bad behavior back then, and even though we got the internet, we're beginning to see these stories increasing. And theology said because of lawlessness, the love of many will grow cold. We're going to explore this phenomenon, guys. Is it genetic predisposition? Is it something spiritual? Or is it mental illness or both? Get your pens and paper ready, guys, as I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. Let's do it.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in on tonight. Will not be before you guys too long. And thank you to the 8 that are watching. Hopefully the crowd will get bigger, but if not, I'm going to keep moving anyway. But we're going to get into it on tonight, guys, because lawlessness appears to be at an all-time high. And before we get deeper to the show, shout out to my man Salty Balls, always showing love. He said, chaos 2 and 1, dying streaks swallowed the blood of the fallen. Some argues it is the madness of the mind or temptations of the flesh. It is the voidness of the spirit and the evil works, witchery, and she-heathen. Shout out to that brother. Thank you, Salty Balls. And that's a deal, right? Thank you, brother.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
But, I want to talk with you guys on tonight. And lawlessness. Today is Sunday. And I'm not going to be preaching, but it appears that lawlessness is at an all-time high. And as I said early, as a prelude, there was a time, men and women, where we didn't see the behaviors that we're seeing now. There was a time where there was a greater level of civility and love for human beings and humanity. But now, even though there's nothing new under the sun, there ain't nothing new under the sun. Murder and lawlessness and whatever has always been part of the human condition. But when evil reaches a crescendo, and when there is no shame, then many times it's a new Aquarius, or it's the beginning of a new age. Theologians in the Bible say that as we get closer to the end, it said that lawlessness will increase. And I told you, men, that there are 7 steps to male optimization, and understanding faith and spirituality and how it plays a role in your mental health is paramount to not only understand the psychology around women, but also understanding the psychology of humanity. Consistent with the New King James Version Bible, it said, because of lawlessness will abound, the love of many will wax cold. And so the question is, why are so many people so evil and so cold? Why are people so wicked when it comes down to the love of humanity and their brothers? Why do people do the things that they do and don't have no regard? And I got 3 or 4 cases that you guys are going to see, because we're beginning to see these cases happen all too often. Once again, to the critics that say, well, it's always been lawless. Well, that's in theory, that's true. Yes, there's nothing new under the sun. But here's the caveat, it's increasing. And because it's increasing and it's happening without shame and happening at a grand scale and a grand level, then one would ask the question, is it something supernatural? Because we've never seen the world this bad before, not in my lifetime. And we're going to see it at an all-time high. As you guys know, at one point, I taught school. I worked in law enforcement, and now I'm a licensed professional. And consistent with that, kids that have the behaviors that you're about to see in a minute, they didn't hit teachers back in the past like that. Kids would never get in the teacher's face when we were kids in school, not where I'm from. And if it did happen, even in the inner city or in maybe the West Coast or the East Coast, it still didn't happen at the level that it's happening now. Kids now don't have a regard or a resolve when it comes down to managing their emotions and controlling their internal locus of control. But the question we'll ask is a dissolvement of families and communities and a lack of kids feeling safe, and because of the media and so much negative stuff in the media, that we're beginning to see the proliferation of evil at its all-time high. As I said before in the past, I saw it when I worked in training school and when I worked in prison. But it appears to be increasing. And it's increasing without impunity. So we're going to get deep in the rabbit hole, guys, on tonight. We're going to explore this thing from a biopsychosocial spiritual model and why our kids are manifesting this behavior. Not just black kids, all kids. And so we're going to talk about it. So in the meantime, guys, get the likes up. Donate to the channel. And I'm about to drop some fire for your mind on tonight.
Fire for your mind.
Down the rabbit hole we go. Let's do it, guys. Hold tight. Because we need to find out what's going on with this phenomenon. All right, here we go.
Down the rabbit hole we go. This is the part of the show where we assess, examine, collaborate.
All right, so let's go to Chicago. Let's go to Chicago and let's explore what happened in Chicago and these kids going wild. And then we're going to talk about what happened in my state, the Tar Heel state, and why so many kids are out of control and why they have a lack of resolve or lack of regard for adults. Hold tight.
Some breaking news off the top. Hundreds of teens flooding into downtown.
Hold tight, guys. All right, so let's break this thing down. What's going on with these kids in Chicago and abroad? What's going on with these kids, white or black, when it comes down to behavior? Hold tight.
Downtown Chicago tonight, smashing car windows, trying to get into Millennium Park, prompting a major police response. Within the past few minutes, shots were fired near the corner of Madison and Michigan. Now, we had a news crew on the scene, but they had to move because of safety concerns. I was there a little bit earlier, about an hour and a half ago, and saw police escorting tourists and visitors to their cars in the Millennium Park parking garage. The crowd was trying to get into Millennium Park, but there are checkpoints that are not allowing anyone under the age of 21 who's not with an adult to get in. So they're massing across the street on the other side of Michigan Avenue. I spoke to a woman whose car was smashed by people jumping on the windshield.
Let me say something, guys. This is just not black kids. White kids are complicit in bad behavior as well. But sadly, when black kids do these kind of behaviors, it's magnified or more or less reiterate what some would deem and say that black folks are dangerous. But it's just an ongoing issue with lawlessness. It's a manifestation of a world gone wild, a world devoid without order, a world devoid without masculinity, and a world that is devoid without community. And this is how we got here in this current world.
She says the crowd began beating her husband as he sat in the driver's seat. He's now been sent to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. I also talked to a woman, a Chicago native, who was appalled by what she saw.
And guys, y'all know Chicago historically has had a lot of issues with bad behavior. Chicago historically has had a lot of issues with gangster culture, going back to Al Capone.
A good time, but it's simply bad parenting. We have to do better as parents. Our kids should not be out.
And so the woman said it's bad parenting. Do you guys think it's bad parenting? Because it appears that's what it appears to be the case. And y'all guys gonna see in a minute something similar.
Where are the parents at? That's my question.
The situation continues to develop at this hour. As we mentioned, we have a reporter on the scene, but there are some security concerns. Fox 32's Nate Rogers is on Michigan Avenue in a protective position. Nate, can you tell us what you see right now?
Yeah, that's right, Dane. As you just mentioned, we're downtown on Michigan and Randolph. I'm actually probably a block away from a lot of where the chaos has originated. Right now, Chicago police are trying to clear.
And see, guys, these are some of the situations that I saw a lot of times when I taught school. If those cops had decided to shoot one of those kids, then the concern would have been, what's going on with my baby? Who hurt my baby? Who shot Junebug? Who shot Day Day? That's what the conversation would have been. And they would have been blaming other people instead of blaming themselves. We're going to ask ourselves the question, where's the parental guidance around these kids? Because in the clinical world, the protective factors to helping a child become better is having strong families and having intact families. But I've never seen the world the way it is now. The lack of respect for authority, the lack of respect for masculinity, the lack of respect for order, and delusion at an all-time high as well. The world is going wild. Is it mental, or is it spiritual, or is it a combination of both? And I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of both because we don't want to hear the truth. We live in a world now where theology said folks will not love the truth. And this is problematic, guys, to say the least.
Michigan Avenue, at least from Randolph until maybe 3 or 4 blocks south on Michigan. Very active scene indeed. Hundreds of officers working this investigation. There are reports, unconfirmed by Chicago police, of multiple people shot at Michigan and Washington, also Michigan and Wabash. The Chicago...
Look at this foolishness, guys. Look at this foolishness. Some of these kids are 14, 15, 16. And see, here's the problem, guys. Some of y'all got good kids. Some of y'all got good kids. And y'all are trying to raise your kids in good environments. But see, bad kids can corrupt good kids. And they put them in predicaments when they feel like they got to do certain things. But once again, the question is, where are the parents at? Where's the community at? Why are these kids out this time of night? No home training, no respect for authority. But once again, if they got deleted or shot by a cop, then we will say it was the cop's fault.
The fire department, we're told, is here along with paramedics and Chicago SWAT teams, all assisting in this investigation. Now, the chaos here downtown began or erupted just before 8 p.m.
And once again, guys, white kids are no better. White kids do crazy stuff too. But they're going to always magnify when they come down to black kids. It's going to always reinforce what they think about black folks in general.
100 young people traveling in groups, kids seen jumping barricades into Millennium Park, also jumping on top of cars. Other reports indicated large groups trying to force their way into the Art Institute. This appears to be one of those teen takeovers.
Now imagine, guys, as the economy get worse and worse. Imagine, because we live in a time now where we have not raised our boys to be warriors. Imagine what could potentially happen if you're in a city like Chicago where it appears that things are on steroids. Shout out to my man, Kevin White, for the 10. Thank you, Kevin White. Always showing love. Kevin White, thank you, brother. Love you, brother, for showing some love. And Kevin White, that's a deal, right? I appreciate it, sir. Thank you, brother.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
And you're right, Miss. She said mothers are a lot to blame, especially if they said are in said position of their kids, right? And that happens when you're dealing with these dusty men that get you knocked up and don't take care of their responsibility.
That we saw last year publicized widely on social media, attracting thousands into the downtown area as well as to Chicago area beaches. The teens are seen with their cell phones out, Bluetooth music speakers blasting, dancing.
And guys, that's another sign of a lawless world. Another sign of a lawless world now, guys, is when people see crime, they can see women being raped. They can see a man being assaulted, man or woman, and they don't do nothing about it. Because lawlessness has gotten so bad that the love of many is waxing cold. And I understand to the critics that say, no, I'm not going to have nothing to do with it because I could lose my life as well. But watch this. Doing something don't mean you got to physically intervene. But you can call the cops or you can yell, you can scream or something. But nowadays, they just record it. And you guys going to see it firsthand from this video in a minute. Hold tight.
While recording videos, hoping that they'll go viral. Now, I'm back out here live really just within the...
And listen, they do stuff now, guys, these Zennials and Alpha Z generation, they just do stuff for the hell of it so it can go viral. And now because we had the proliferation of the internet and social media, it has exacerbated bad behavior. Social media have made behavior worse.
Last 10 minutes or so ago, my photographer and I, Raphael, we heard at least 4 gunshots while we were standing at Michigan and Washington. We ran along with another TV news crew just to get to safety. Maybe 5 minutes after that, we heard even more gunshots. And so right now, Chicago police are trying to clear this area. If you can see from where I'm standing right now, gridlock traffic indeed. I mean, Chicago police here in great numbers, along with the Chicago Fire Department, paramedics. We understand that SWAT teams are here as well. A lot of folks are being rerouted to nearby public transportation just so they can get home. We also have seen police trying to escort tourists back into their hotels. Chicago police working right now to get...
And these kids were attacking tourists. So imagine if you guys came from a different part of the state to go see Chicago and you saw this melee downtown Chicago. Once again, how can you have a band of kids unsupervised causing chaos in a city? And that's lawlessness. It's not only mental, some of it, but a lot of it is spiritual. And some will even say it's demonic. Because I've never seen the world this bad before, guys. I've never seen it this bad before. And I never saw this bad before in schools, and it's happened even worse in schools. These kids are out of control. And the addiction and cell phone addiction, plus, in my opinion, some underlying spiritual issue, is exacerbating it. Some of these kids have a media addiction, and they have a cell phone addiction. Cell phones and social media has proliferated lawlessness.
A handle on all of this. We haven't received any updated information on if there have been any victims associated with any of this. That is the latest here in downtown Chicago. Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Nate, just to clarify, I want to ask you quickly, you're standing at the corner of Michigan and Randolph. Is Michigan Avenue shut down right now?
Yes, sir, at least from our vantage point, Dane. But keep in mind, Michigan and Randolph is probably 500 feet from where I am. I'm a little bit further into, closer back towards the lake, if you will. We really just had to get out of the way because the teens were running, officers were running. From our vantage point, you can't even, I don't even think there's traffic flowing along Michigan Avenue because the cars are stopped right now.
Yeah, it looks from that shot as though at least Michigan Avenue has been shut down. Nate, stay safe. Thank you very much for that report.
And so the question is that many are asking, where are the parents? That's what people are asking. Where are the parents? Listen to what this woman said. She drove her car and her husband was beating her. an innocent bystander. She drove a car and her husband was beaten. And once again, guys, this is the world that we live in. I've never seen the world this bad in my lifetime. I've never seen it this bad. And God, this is what happens where you more or less aggrandize baby mama culture. This is what happens where you minimize the importance of fatherhood. This is what happens when you have rampant promiscuity at an all-time high. You don't breed responsible men that can control their emotions. You breed a bunch of young boys with testosterone that think emotional. And many times they think just like their mama because they're around feminine energy and they don't have the locus of control to control their behavior. And that's a problem. And this is what they say, and that's the problem now. No more shame. They say it's not appropriate to demonize a youth. So what do we say? You beat up old people. Some person get deleted, a shot. And that's what happens, guys, when you have a world where there's no more shame because the conscience has been seared. And when you live in a world where people no longer have a conscience, then that's dangerous. And the conscience of many has been seared. And because the conscience has been seared, it's led to lawlessness. Because lawlessness would abound, the love of many would wax cold. And that's the world that we're living in now. All right, so this is what happened in Chicago. But we're going to get deeper down the rabbit hole, guys, and we're going to talk about what happened in my state, the Tar Heel state. We're going to talk about what happened in the Tar Heel state. So hold tight, and you're going to see where these kids are not only carrying lawlessness from the inner cities to the street, but also to the South, and how this woman, how this kid disrespected this woman, and some talked about that she was inappropriately dressed. But that's not the point. The point is this woman or this child got up in this woman's face and she challenged this grown woman. And now both have a charge. Let me ask you guys a question. Should this woman have been given a charge because of this child's disrespectful behavior?
Yeah, that's my shit. Why does the rules not?
And once again, guys, these cell phones have been very distracting to a lot of kids. Many of these kids have a cell phone addiction. When you take these cell phones now, some of these kids might hurt you. They might hit you. They all struggle because of cell phones. And it's a problem with these cell phones. And you're seeing the now, guys, in this foolishness.
I apply to everybody else. That's my phone. No, you did not keep nobody else's phone.
And listen. Look at how addicted she is. That's a cell phone addiction. And some of these cell phones, I believe, got spirits behind it. But look at her.
You gonna give me my shit? Don't touch me. That's not my.
Look at her. Look at her balance and her proximity. Where's the home train? You in a grown woman's face. And she told her, you better give me my S. She told the teacher, You better give me the substitute teacher, you better give me my S. That's what she said. Challenging a grown woman. She got her back in her face again. Not respecting order, not respecting boundaries. And you can hear the substitute teacher saying, don't touch me. You heard her say, don't touch me. Listen.
Girl, don't touch me.
Still out of control and still not having boundaries. Let me share something with you guys. Some of us are from Gen X. Gen X, when we were going to school, we had corporal punishment. And I know some say that discipline hurts a child's self-esteem, but as a licensed therapist, I don't believe that. I believe that corporal punishment, when it's appropriated correctly, can be okay. But many times, some white liberals and some liberals say you're destroying a child's self-esteem. But the lack of a corporal punishment has precipitated into what we're having now. These kids don't have no regard for authority. They don't have no regard for respect. And it goes back to what we were saying, because iniquity will abound, the love of many will wax cold. And it's a dopamine rush. It's just like, or consistent to drug withdrawal. When you take these cell phones from some of these kids, just like spirits hide behind alcohol and drugs, spirits also hide behind these cell phones. Because this girl lost her mind and got a beat down subsequently. See that? Y'all see that? Did you see where she went to hit this teacher? Let's go back, because she's in my state, the Tar Heel state. Not too far from where I'm at. But this girl hauled back and went to hit this teacher. Look. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. She goes to hit this grown woman. No respect for authority. No respect for a teacher. Look at it. No respect for authority. No respect. And because iniquity will abound, the love of many will wax cold. The love of many will wax cold. And that's what you're seeing now. These kids are out of control. This is what happens when you don't have families. This is what happens when you don't have communities. This is what happens when you have a group of kids that think they're entitled and they understand that there is no recourse for their bad behavior. And see, many were talking about the woman was inappropriately dressed. That's irrelevant in my opinion. Yeah, of course, her backside was shown, but to me, that's irrelevant. The fact is, she got in this woman's face. She got in this woman's face, and she had a lack of regard for authority. And the teacher is calling for help. But instead of getting help, the kids are feminine. They're feminine instead of calling for help.
Somebody get a fucking teacher.
Did you hear what she said? Somebody get a teacher. She said, somebody get a teacher. Somebody get an effing teacher. But they're feminine. Instead of getting this woman support. And this is what happens, guys, when you don't have fathers, the risk factors for kids and delinquency goes higher. When I worked in law enforcement, one of the greatest precursors for deviancy was a lack of fathers and broken communities. And I'm going to say also, guys, the lack of spirituality. Because when, as therapists, we look at things through the biopsychosocial spiritual model. We live in a world now that's devoid of spirituality.
Get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a fucking teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Somebody get a teacher. I don't give a fuck. Get out. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher. Get a teacher.
And they both have been charged with simple assault. But this is in North Carolina, not Chicago, but this is in North Carolina.
Y'all just gonna sit here and watch it. What's wrong with y'all? Get a teacher. Get this bitch.
And she said, get this B off of me. She said, get this B off of me. She called the teacher a B. And that's the world that we live in. That's the world that we live in there, guys. No respect for authority. No respect for nothing at all. But we wonder why our communities are so bad. This is the woman, this is the teacher, guys, that actually talked about her situation. We're going to listen to what she got to say.
Hey, everybody.
This was the teacher that got assaulted. And you guys are going to hear from the teacher, Mrs. Steele. This is the assaulted substitute teacher. And this is what the administrator said, Dr. LaTanya Johnson. I'm an administrator, and I would have not given her the phone back either. She came at me like that. Obviously, the student wasn't afraid of any consequence she would face at home for her actions, right? There's no consequences now. And you will be a fool to go into the school environment trying to teach now. It's no consequence, man. It's no accountability.
Here's the teacher. You wanted to hear from the teacher? Here I am. First of all, I want to say I love everybody. Thank you for your support. Yes, people have been getting threats and some negativity. That's just, it doesn't.
One will argue, why is this woman getting negativity for? I don't understand why she's getting negativity. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Really matter. At that point, everybody does have an opinion. But I've been working with young people for 22 years. I started out in high school tutoring young folks in elementary. I taught dance, cheerleading, drill team. I taught Sunday school, praise and worship dance. Like I said, Sunday school, Sunday church, and found myself, I used to work as an administrator in the office or office support in the school district, and then I'm here as a substitute teacher. Thank you. I'm so glad you can hear me or can't hear me. Can or can't. Okay, so I just wanted to say, though, in all my 22 years, never have I ever experienced what I experienced this month.
And I believe this woman, and this is a sign of lawlessness. That's why I got out of education partly, because there's no consequences. These kids are out of control, and they don't have no respect for authority. When we were kids, a teacher had the highest honor and had the highest respect. But now, the behavior that you're seeing now, they're getting the teacher face and hit them. Man, we didn't hear about that as a Gen Xer, man. If you saw something like that, that was the worst student in the world. But now you begin to see this happening all too often in a range of students. Back in the past, you might have one or two like that. Now, it appears to be the norm with a lot of students. And it's a problem.
Monday. I've never been attacked by young folks. I love young people. This is why I work with them.
Guys, do me a favor. Get the likes up. Share this stream. Donate to the channel if you have not donated. Thank you to the people who have donated. Kevin White and Salty Balls. I appreciate it. If you have not donated to the channel, donate. Thank you guys once again.
I have a heart for them. That young lady attacked me, and she went for blood. She took out an inch of my hairline from here all the way to 2 inches back here. And y'all know that black women have hair issues, okay? I don't understand what it is with black on black crime. Black women hating on each other. I never did that. I always show love to my sister, especially to the kids. The kids are our future. So that fake page that was up, that somebody was like, F the kids and F that job, it was never F the kids, because the kids are our future. But I'm going to tell you this. She was in my space. She was behind the desk. I followed.
And right, she was in her space. She was in that woman's boundary. And these kids now don't have any boundaries. They don't know boundaries because many times the parents haven't set boundaries home. And sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with the parents. It's just the culture or a combination of both.
Follow protocol for whoever said that I touched her first. Okay? And I tried to call for an administrator or somebody at the office 3 times. But never in my 22 years working with young people have I ever been attacked. But let me tell you something. Within a month, there has been a teacher that was knocked unconscious with her head kicked in.
This is what she said. This is in the Tar Heel state, the great state in the union. A teacher was kicked in and knocked in the head and knocked out unconscious. This is the kind of spirituality and warfare that we're dealing with now, and the lack of disrespect. Knocked unconscious.
Twice, 2 teachers. Another teacher got a gun pulled on her.
Shout out to my man, Mental OG, as you are the #1 sponsor of this stream. Mental OG said this. He said, black men warned about this. They didn't need a man and rejected authority. Now the children are emulating their bad behavior. I appreciate it, Mental OG, for your love offering. You are the #1 sponsor of this stream, Mental OG, and thank you, brother, for tuning in. Thank you, Mental OG. Thank you, sir. All right, guys, you got a comment you want me to read? Just send a donation and we'll take it from there. Thank you, guys. Hold tight. Let's finish listening to this and seeing the foolishness manifesting in society.
And like I say, I love kids. My husband said, yeah, I spend my own money. I reward good behavior. I let the kids know that they have something to offer the world. They do. Each and every one of them is special in their own way. And the world is waiting for them to share their gifts. But as for me, as much as I love the kids, I cannot put my life or my livelihood in danger anymore. I will be saying goodbye to this profession. I went to school 3 times for real estate. Oh, yes, I'm being faced with charges as well.
Remember, this woman protecting herself using forceful force gets an assault. So the world is so unbalanced now, you hold the woman accountable for protecting herself. Make it make sense. A world that you punish the victim and assume because she was an adult that she didn't have the right to protect herself. Now, some would say she was excessive, but I don't think she was excessive. When you're in that state of mind and when you're trying to protect yourself, you lose it. Adrenaline kicked in.
Behind this. And so, if I get a charge on my record, there goes my career again. Period. I have 4 children. My children would never, you best believe, I raised my kids right. They would never disrespect authority of any kind or an adult. They know to come to me. OnlyFans is out of the question. I'm not that kind of lady. I grew up in church. Okay? But I just wanted to say, I still love the kids. They are our future. But at this point, I cannot put my children's livelihood, hey niece, nor my family in this situation to where I'm not getting paid. And it may be possible that what I went to pay my money for to go to school for 3 times.
And that's why God's teaching no longer is a noble profession. I taught school for 5 years, but it's too dangerous. The administration many times will blame you, and it's a very caustic environment. And if you are a masculine man, you can't teach in a school because you will be suppressing your masculinity the whole time. And I could never teach in another environment again. To me, it's not worth it. You don't get paid enough, and it's a waste of energy, man, in my opinion. It don't mean you don't have a love for kids, but it's too much work.
Yeah, I did not think that I would be ending, I would not be working the last 4 weeks of school. But anyway, I will have, thank you, I appreciate it. I will have more details on what happened. I appreciate everybody that's given their donations to my husband's GoFundMe account. That's awesome. And all the phone calls, thank you for calling and praying with us. And so many people are leaving the profession. And I'm going to have to wash my hands behind.
Yes, a lot of people are leaving the education profession. Because these kids now, you guys are about to see, some of these kids are strong. So to these idiots that talk about don't get on the child's level, it's dumb. You're an idiot. There are kids and teenagers that are as strong as some adults. Some of these boys are strong enough to knock out grown men. Some of them are. But you can tell folks trying to get on another kid's level. I wish a damn kid would put their hands on me. You can't play with these kids, man. I worked in law enforcement. You can't play with them.
Behind this as well. I can't do this. And I'm not here to talk about what was under my clothes. Okay, that is not even up for discussion. But you're hearing it from the teacher right now. I do love kids. Please raise your children. Spend time with them. Love on them. Teach them right and wrong. Teach them to respect authority. If you want to keep a job or go into these professional places.
And this woman is married, so thank God, kudos for her for doing it the right way. But when you exonerate baby mama culture, where you glorify baby mama culture at the expense of family, respect for male authority, this is what you get now, guys. And the protective factors are diminished where you take away structure and order that men bring. I'm talking about men that were raised right and raised by masculine men.
You have to follow protocol.
You can live without that phone.
That's right. You can't be on your phone at a job, period. You know?
Without that phone, like we do. Your phone up sometimes.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. I appreciate the prayers because prayer does work. God is real. I've seen him acting on my behalf in my life. And I believe that he will continue to act on my behalf. And it's a shame that some of y'all's head is in the wrong place right now with your dirty minds. Y'all supposed to be grown-ups. And you got a mind of a child. Grown people a child in a grown-up's body. It's a shame. It's a shame. You've never seen women get in an altercation. It's always breasts or something flying. You know? I mean, let's be real we got to pray for our children and we got to raise our children. It still takes a village. Trust me,
And she's right. It does take a village, but there is no village. There is no community. You got a bunch of women, sadly, not all, but many, don't want authority of a man. They want control and power, but they don't want the power and the control and the authority of a man. When you live in a matriarchal or living under matriarchal Marxism, you can't have a village where the men are not leading. That's why when people say, go save our community, you can't expect black men to save a community where they're not given respect and given the proper authority.
If I see a child doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and if you got love behind it, they respect that. One time I saw some kids lighting a firecracker under somebody else's car. And I was like, babies, now y'all know y'all should not be doing that. Your mama ain't gonna be able to pay for somebody else's car. They didn't know me from Adam or Eve on the street. But you know what? But they knew that I was coming from love. I come from love when I walk in the building every day. And react with respect. You have to give respect to earn it. And trust me, I respect them babies. I respect all them children. I respect every person. They have feelings. And their feelings are valid. But I do not tolerate disrespect. Not from my, excuse me. I don't tolerate mine. Disrespect from anyone. And yes, I will walk away. But as you see, I was backed in a corner, trying to call for help. And so, this is not a reflection. I'm telling you, the people that work in this industry really do have a heart for young folks. I can tell you that right now. Everybody that I work with love and respect.
And I did have a heart, but it became to the point as you get older, man, you don't want to deal with that kind of stress. You don't want to deal with the headaches. You don't want to deal with the administration. You don't want to deal with potential legal issues. You don't want to deal with the parents. You don't want to deal with parents that blame you instead of holding the kids accountable.
Respect y'all's children when y'all send them to school. Your kids need to come to school to learn. Tell your kids to put their phones away. You come to school to get an education because they want that bag. I tell them all the time. That's all they're concerned about. They want that bag. The better your grades, the bigger your bag. And I tell them to open their mouths and express themselves. I encourage them to open their mouths and express themselves. And so this is, I don't know, just that day, I couldn't get through to the office. Just that day it happened. You know? But I have 4 children. And I cannot put my life in danger, nor can I put our livelihood in danger.
And it's true, guys. I taught school once before, and I taught a few years ago. I can only imagine what it's like now. When I taught, we had the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. Around 2010, 2008, 9, 10, they came up with Common Core. And now what you're seeing there, once again, is a proliferation of more bad and decadent behavior. And it's happening at an all-time high. Being a teacher now is no longer noble. It's not worth it. You're not valued. You can't implement a healthy level, and I mean healthy level of corporal punishment, because being from Gen X, we got paddle. It didn't hurt me. I know there's some that say, oh, if you hurt a child, spank a child, that hurts them. But I don't believe that. I believe if you abuse and spanking is totally different. And I don't believe that spanking a child and they know why they're getting spanked after giving them several warnings can hurt a child's self-esteem.
Oh, see, if my kids were disobedient, they already know you would not be here. You had to leave. You had to leave. And I love you. I discipline my kids with love. And if they still want to be hard-headed, somebody else will discipline them with a hard end of a stick or a gun. Because that's what our children today face. If you don't raise your children right, you're putting them in an early grave. That's all I got to say. Absolutely. Yes, I did. I'm from Seattle, Washington, to 206, the West Coast. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes. So, I just want to say the people that, you know, our people that are in there, they're working hard. Please make sure your children are following directions, respecting authority, because even out here in this world, they need to respect authority.
Shout out to my man, Mark O. I appreciate it, brother Mark, for the $20 super chat. Mark, you are one of the number one sponsors of the stream. Mark, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you for your kindness. And Mark O., you are one of the number one sponsors of the stream. I see your point there, brother. Thank you, Mark O. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Marco. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for your kindness, sir. I really appreciate it. We're going to move right along, guys, as we get deep into the show. And hold tight.
Authority. Otherwise, there's a stick or a police officer's gun or somebody's gun, bullet waiting for them. And so, all of y'all worried about the wrong thing, but that's okay. I'm in here with my apron, trying to feed my family, you know, going to work, trying to go to work like I was supposed to, you know. But I'm gonna tell you something. I do love young people, and it takes a village. Let's continue to raise our children right. But I gotta go. I said my piece. I'm done with the profession. Yep. Oh, y'all.
And this sister says she's done with the profession like so many, because it's not only dangerous, it's not rewarding as it used to be. It's no incentive to teach anymore.
Oh, no. You know, don't act stupid. Y'all worried about the wrong thing. But anyway, bless y'all. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to show you guys something. This is another part I want to show you guys. Hold tight. And we're going to get deep into it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the brother that donated a minute ago. But I'm going to show you guys something even more brutal about lawlessness increasing. And as I said earlier, I'm not going to be before you guys long. But I'm going to show you guys something even worse. This happened in Montgomery. Hold tight. This happened in Rockdale, Georgia. And this was even worse. And it shows you the proliferation of lawlessness.
Connect with Flex, one-stop shop for CTV advertising. Reach consumers across 89% of all U.S. households via Fox-owned platforms and 150-plus networks with no hidden fees for targeting or insights. ConnectWithFlex.com.
But first, video shows a student attacking a Rockdale County teacher, sending her to the hospital.
Now, guys, look at this hyena. This is what happens when you got kids raised in homes where you don't have structure and order, where they personify the violent behavior of their hyena mothers. Look at the bad behavior, guys. Hold tight. This black woman got pulverized.
With a broken leg. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Tom Haynes. The Sheriff's Office and the school district now have open investigations. NewsNet reporter Joy Du.
Imagine if you got a wife, guys. Your wife, you got a wife. She's trying to do her job, and some kid punch your wife or hit your wife. And the government's getting so wicked now with this Marxism they want to control your kids too. They want to tell you how to raise your kids, which is signs of cultural Marxism.
Dukes joins us now from the live desk. Joy, teacher advocates say classrooms have gotten more violent over the years.
Yeah, Tom, that teacher will have to undergo rehabilitation for her injuries. A representative for a state teachers union says that kind of violence at the hands of students is directly related to the country's massive teacher shortage.
This woman was a veteran teacher, said the first time it ever happened. And with the teacher shortage, the lack of them holding these damn kids accountable, the lack of structure, this woman, a senior teacher, got seriously hurt and she's rehabilitating now. But because iniquity will abound, the love of many will wax cold. And you guys are seeing it manifest right before your eyes.
This video of a student attacking a teacher inside a Heritage High School classroom on January 26th is now under review by the school district and authorities with the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office.
Students are out of control.
And once again, how can you teach unless you have discipleship? How can you teach unless you have discipleship? How can you teach unless you have discipleship? The first mode of discipleship starts in the home. The first transmitter of the culture is the woman at the behest of the man. The woman is not the teacher of culture by herself. She's the teacher based on what the husband has taught her. And then charity begins at home and charity goes abroad. Charity begins at home, it goes abroad. The child is conditioned to receive more positive indoctrination. But they don't have it anymore, guys, because the culture now does not more or less hold bad behavior accountable.
Video, which has since been shared thousands of times on social media, shows chaos erupting in the hallway after an argument between the student and teacher. And
guys, same thing happened once again. It was all from a cell phone. It was all from a cell phone. It was all from a cell phone. And once again, I believe spirits are behind cell phones, and part of it is because of that dopamine hit. I think it's both, biopsychosocial, spiritual, all because the cell phone.
Seen here escalates as that student appears to slam the classroom door on the teacher and then begins to throw punches.
There is no excuse for the violence. There is no excuse for children who are coming to our schools daily and wreaking havoc so others cannot learn.
Verdelia Turner is the president of the Georgia Federation of Teachers. She says she was angered by what she saw in that video when she first watched it Monday. She tells Fox 5 incidents like this one make it difficult to keep teachers inside the classroom.
We search the way of...
And not only physical violence, but also violence by the hands of homicide or death. But you want people to go and talk about some damn teaching. You want kids to teach when the systems are broken. That's why when people talk about community, you can talk community all you want. You don't understand how systems work. When I was in graduate school, we learned something called systems theory. Every system must be calibrated and synchronized appropriately to get the best outcomes. There was a time when our society and world was more God-fearing, but it's not anymore. And I'm guilty to some degree myself. But it's not as God-fearing as it used to be. We don't value what our ancestors valued. The systems are broken. The systems must be unified and calibrated because the part cannot be greater than the whole. All parts must be synchronized and operate in a manner that's consistent with optimization. But there is no optimization anymore because you talk about a community where you don't make the man the leader, you can't have a strong system. When you live in a world where you hold your men accountable, but you don't hold your women accountable, then your system would never work appropriately.
And just Google student assaults on teachers, we'll see numerous assaults across the country.
She believes both students and parents should be held accountable.
In this city and this state, we are in a state of emergency. And right now, we need zero tolerance.
A spokesperson for Rockdale County Public Schools issued.
And I agree with her. I agree. If your child hit a teacher, then you and that child should get a misdemeanor or a lowercase felony. If your child hits that teacher, the parent should get a misdemeanor and the child should get a felony. Or both.
Issued a statement that reads in part, quote, RCPS does not tolerate student violence towards any staff members. Students who harm other students or staff will be disciplined according to our Student Discipline Code of Conduct and will be appropriately charged by law enforcement.
It's unclear exactly what disciplinary action that student is facing from the school tonight. No word on potential criminal charges at this time either, but the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office says the investigation is active and ongoing. From the live desk, Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Very disturbing video there. Joy, thanks.
Finally, the truth. You keep asking, what's the stream, y'all? What do you mean by what's the stream, y'all? You meaning you want to come on and talk? I don't understand what you mean. The show's still going on, brother. If I decide to drop the link at some point, I'll bring you on if I decide to drop the link. But I guess that's what you're talking about when you said, what's the stream, yard? I'm not quite finished yet, so. Yeah, I got you. Finally, the truth. I'm not dropping the link yet. In a minute, I'll drop it. I'll allow you to come up for a few minutes. And I will drop the link for a few, but it's going to be short and brief. I'm about to get off. But hold tight. I still got some more to talk about. All right, hold tight. So the next person, guys, was this guy named Thomas Mosley. Thomas Mosley. This man took the life of his girlfriend, took the life of his baby in Florida, and they found the baby in the mouth of an alligator. And that's the problem that we're having now. So Thomas Mosley, double murder, state wants hospital records for the man accused of killing the child's mother. The woman name was Pashan Jeffrey. So let's look into this real quick.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. We only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Call WeatherTight Windows now.
And his child's mother appeared in a Pinellas courtroom. Prosecutors want Thomas Mosley's medical records from his time at St. Anthony's Hospital in St. Pete last month. Court documents say his injuries were consistent with slippage during a knife attack. Fox 13's Kaylee Tracy has the very latest from today's hearing.
This fool took the life of this woman, and he took his baby and fed it to alligators. Is this spiritual? Is it mental? Or is it both? Or is it this spiritual alone?
Thomas Mosley walked into a courtroom Tuesday.
State of Florida versus Thomas Mosley.
With his hands and arms covered in casts. Court documents say Mosley's injuries were consistent with slippage during a knife attack and that Passion Jeffrey was stabbed to death with a knife on March 29th. Mosley was admitted to the hospital that evening. Passion's body was found in her apartment the next.
The young girl name was Passion. And the little baby boy was the baby that was associated with the double homicide.
Next day, she had been stabbed more than 100 times, officers say. On Tuesday...
Listen. Lawlessness will abound and the love of many will wax cold. This sounds demonic in my opinion. Because theology said that Satan was a murderer and a liar. It said that Satan was a murderer and a liar. And you see it now in this particular case right now.
Prosecutors asked a judge to approve a subpoena for Mosley's medical records, saying his injuries are relevant to their case.
It will give
this fool stabbed this woman 100 times and don't have no grief, don't have no empathy. You can see the darkness in his eyes, the entitlement too.
the state information in its investigation as to the treatment, how severe these injuries.
And guys, no, I'm not trying to be rude, but look at this bonnet, man. There was a time our women won't go out with no damn bonnet on their head, but don't have no decorum. This is what happens when you have a broken community. Our women used to have a level of class, but this young woman got a bonnet on her head in court. And I'm not trying to say this to be mean, but I'm just saying that the lack of etiquette, the lack of femininity, the lack of decorum is what happens in a world devoid of masculinity.
Were how they had to be treated, what the surgery entailed, all of that information, which is highly relevant to our crimes of first-degree murder.
Prosecutors also played body camera video that showed Passion Jeffrey's mother talking to officers about Mosley's birthday party the same day Mosley later went to the hospital and a day before Passion Jeffrey was found dead.
Yesterday was our baby dad's birthday time, and it was his birthday.
And this is what happens, guys, where you, once again, you have a generation of boys raised without strong masculine fathers. And when these boys full of testosterone don't know how to control themselves, they'll get angry and mad. And many times they'll say this.
Oh, yeah, put chain on balls on my mom. They be broken balls. Kill some of my mom. Bro, they back. He look like that's on my mom. That's on my mom. That's on my mom.
And they'll say, "On my mama," and they'll take your life and won't think nothing of it. This woman was stabbed over 100 times by this psycho simp. And I've seen this type when I worked in law enforcement. Broken and dark. Broken and dark. And let me say something, because some will say, well, black men are deleting black women. Well, listen, I've done studies and I've done the research, I've done shows, and domestic violence is bi-directional. Many times it's initiated by the woman. But I'm not here to talk about gender issues and gender disparities. I'm here to talk about this monster and his level of cruelty.
Do you know if they were drinking or anything? I just know they were smoking. You smoking weed? Yeah.
Prosecutors say toxicology reports would show whether Mosley was under the influence of anything else before or at the time of the homicides.
We're objecting to all of it, Your Honor.
Defense attorneys argued that the affidavit gives enough information about Mosley's injuries and that releasing his medical records would violate his privacy.
It will cause irreparable harm. And all of the appellate cases say that there's no way to put the toothpaste back in the tube.
The judge plans to issue a written order with her decision and scheduled a status hearing for May 5th. Kaylee Tracy, Fox 13 News.
Passion's son, 2-year-old Talon, was found dead in a lake a day after his mother was found dead in her apartment. The lake is close to Mosley's mother's home. Police say evidence put Mosley at both scenes.
And this is what happens. Because iniquity will abound, the love of many was wax cold. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the funeral and the little boy that lost his life, sadly. But I don't remember the world being like this, guys. I don't remember it. I don't remember the world being this bad.
With different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. We only install PGT custom windows.
Right now, it's the final goodbyes for friends and family of 20-year-old Passion Jeffrey and her 2-year-old son, Talon. Their funeral began just a few minutes ago. The boy's father now charged with 2 counts of murder in connection to their deaths. Fox 13's Matthew McClellan reports from First Baptist Church of St. Pete.
The homegoing service for Passion Jeffrey and Talon Mosley happening as we speak, and it's important to remember and keep into perspective that this time last week, this time in the day, Talon was still missing. The search was still underway for him after his mother was found violently murdered inside their apartment. He was found later on several miles away in a lake, and the family has said initially that they had wanted to have Talon and his mom buried together, sharing a casket, because the
little boy was found several days later in a lake. Make it make sense.
We're rarely apart from each other in life, but there will be 2 separate caskets, 2 separate burial plots. The family also says they want to adorn these caskets with tons of flowers. This as they thank the many people who have donated online and helped make this time of unspeakable grief just a little easier. Passion was a St. Pete native. She attended Benito Middle School, then Boca Ciega High, and later Northeast, where she was an honors student. The photo from Passion's graduation, her family says, shows how proud Passion Jeffrey was of what she'd just accomplished and how dedicated she was to making a better life for her son. We're told she knew it would not be easy being a single mom, but that Passion was determined to provide for Talon. Her mom, joined by her great aunt after her...
And all too often, a lot of our young women sabotage their future by having babies with these goofy dudes and putting that child and baby in a bad predicament. When are we going to start telling our daughters to protect and respect their virtue, and also telling our sons to learn some levels of self-control? When are we going to start using shame when it comes down to women understanding that their bodies, their temples, and that even though it's morally wrong for both, that woman going to have the greatest offense because she got to carry that child?
Her body was found last week, describing Passion's trademark sense of humor.
She's very outspoken, always make you laugh. Smile. Smile all the time. Always joking. Trying to rap. Laughing. Always trying to rap. Sing. Scaring you when you're not expecting it. Always hiding behind your door. Yes, love to scare you all the time. You know, ever since she was like 3-4 years old.
And Talon, they say, was a sweet and happy toddler who loved his mom. During Passion's breaks from work at CVS, they would FaceTime so she could spend every spare moment with her son. During the day, Talon would grab anyone's phone and pretend to call his mom. And the family just says that witnessing...
This little boy will never get to see the light of day again because his life is over. This little boy will never get to see the light of day again because his life...
Passion and Talon together, the love that they shared was such a blessing to them, and that is a memory they say they will keep in their hearts forever. Reporting from St. Petersburg, Matthew McClellan, Fox 13 News.
And because once again, iniquity will abound, the love of many will wax cold. I'm going to show you guys another part, and then I'm going to end the stream because I got things I got to do. Got to get ready.
With different levels of quality.
See patience in the morning.
That can withstand the tropical climate.
And
we only install PGT custom windows and
once
doors.
Again, guys, this is what happens.
Price is what you pay, but value is what you get.
This is what happens when you don't have intact families.
30 by 30. It's a nationwide initiative to get more women into law enforcement. The goal, for women to make up 30% of each law enforcement agency by the year 2030. Hundreds of agencies from around the country.
Hold on, this is part of the funeral, guys. Hold on. Let me show you a little bit of the funeral of this sad occasion. This is the full funeral service. Hold tight. Remember, this little boy will never see the light of day again because his life is over and this young lady's life is over.
Fly away when I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away when we all...
This is his little baby, Taylor Mosley, the little baby that lost his life along with his mother, sadly.
All get together. What a day of rejoicing that will be. Oh, when we all see Jesus, we will sing and shout the victory. Oh, when we all get to heaven. Oh, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, 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 we will sing and shout victory. Oh, one more time. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we will sing and shout the victory.
And guys, as y'all can see, this is the casket of the little baby boy, Taylor Mosley, Jayla Mosley, and his mother.
Let all God's people say amen. Amen. God has caused us to be in this place at this hour today. A great day on Good Friday to be able to be witnesses of the moving of his hand in our midst. While we may not understand, we are still saddled with the grief that accompanies this movement. But our faith tells us that we look unto God, who is able to keep all of us. And we pray that God will show his favor today in this service.
And that's what happens when you have a world devoid of spirituality, and when you have a world devoid of truth, and a world devoid of a moral law and a moral creator. We didn't have this kind of stuff when I was a kid growing up, man. You didn't see it as much. Did it happen? Yes, but not to this level. And it appears to be proliferating at an all-time high.
Service by helping this family come together to realize that God has trusted them in this movement of his. We come most of all to praise God for the life of Sister Passion and young Taylor, how God has now received them as promised into his presence. Somebody ought to say amen. Our service today is much as the family has requested. And we have pastors who are going to lead us and be a part of this worship experience. And we're going to look to God to bathe the hearts of these who are in sorrow. And for each of us, friends who've come to be here, to say we have sat where you sit, and we are witnesses with our testimony that God is able to keep you standing, and he'll bring you through this moment. And so at this time, we're going to have
together, God, that we may come together in spite of our pain, and yet that we're
and all too often, guys, we tend to be reactive instead of being proactive. We tend to be reactive instead of proactive.
I am, there ye may be also. And whether I go, you know, and the way you know. Thomas said unto him,
And this is the casket of that little baby boy that lost his life. I'm not going to be before you guys too much longer. I might drop the link for my man for a minute or two, but I got to go. I got to see clients in the morning. But hold tight.
my portion.
Say so, sister, say so.
A constant friend is a he.
Yes,
His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. And I sing because I'm happy. And I sing because I'm free. 'Cause his eye is on.
All right, guys. I'm not going to play too much more of that. I think you guys get the gist. Lawlessness. That's the world that we live in now. The love of many is waxing cold, sadly. I'm going to drop the link for about 5 minutes. You got a cam up in the back. You got a cam up. I'm going to drop the link for 5 minutes. I want to hear briefly from the brother that... brother, finally the truth. Finally the truth, you got a cam up in the back. And I got about 5 more minutes before I shut this thing down because I got things to do in the morning. So call in. This is only for finally the truth. 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 We got a cam up in the back before you come on. So the link has been dropped, brother. I know you want to come in and pop in for a minute. You feel more than likely to do it. Oh, Brother Terrence. Okay, there you go. All right. All right, you come on, Brother Terrence. Go ahead, man.
Hey, big brother.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing good. How about you?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Why are you the only one talking about this? I got a question for you. Why are you the only one talking about this?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Because the answer is because you the only one with the damn solution. That makes you the best. That's proof that you the best. You got the best show and the best ideas and the best solution for this.
Well, I appreciate that, man. These kind of messages don't go. Sadly, brother T, these kind of messages don't get a lot of love, man. It is what it is. Foolishness sell.
Well, there's only one thing that black people hate, and the only one thing they hate is the truth.
Right.
And you got too much truth on this show, so that's why there's not a lot of people over here. That's why they hated on Kevin Samuels, because he was telling them the truth.
Yeah, man. You know, it gets hard, man, doing this kind of content, man, because you put a lot of time, you put a lot of energy in it,
yeah,
put a lot of work in it, you know, and you ask yourself the question, man, maybe you should go in another whole niche.
No,
because
it ain't hard. Once you realize that your reward comes from God, not from man, And we those that are with God, we see your great light, brother. And we love you, we honor you, we love you, we honor you, we honor you.
So what's your take, real quick, brother T, about this foolishness, man? This lawlessness, this rampant lawlessness, and you and I were teenagers growing up in the you and I Gen Xers to boomers, and I've never seen the world this bad, man. But what's your take on this foolishness, man?
We were told about it when we were babies.
Mm-hmm.
It's called. God has a word for it. It's called the last days.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the book of Revelations.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation 18:5, God gave us the one and only solution, and that's come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her sins, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God is not pleased. So this is no shock. This is no surprise. We were prepared for it. And see, the word mental and spiritual, they the same word, brother.
Mm-hmm.
What's mental is what's spiritual. And the solution to this lawlessness and craziness was given when? In the 60s. In the 1960s, Martin Luther King, y'all get y'all pen and paper out and write this down. Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
John F. Kennedy said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. These problems were seen in the 60s, and the solutions were given in the 60s. And both of those men were shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
You see, just look at the word democracy. Cracy is Greek for rule, but demo in Latin means demon or devil. Democracy means the rule of the devil. So why are we surprised? Capitalism in Latin, capitalism, if you look at its Latin roots, capitalism means to cut your head off. See, God said for a society to exist, 4 things must be in place: freedom, justice, equality, and independence. Freedom, because freedom is like the blood in your body. It flows freely. Justice is reward when you do right and punishment when you do wrong. And the Bible tells us that God created the universe on a system of justice. Equality is equal opportunity for everybody up under the sun. Independence is a person's ability to have a sovereign existence. You see, if rich people, if you don't have freedom, justice, equality, and independence in a society that God calls for, then the rich people can build all these beautiful buildings, but dissatisfied people will come and tear down those beautiful buildings because they are the disenfranchised. They have no stake in the society. They have when I was a young boy, an elder told me something I'll never forget. He said, don't ever mess with nobody that don't have nothing to lose. In my youth, I couldn't understand the power of his words, but as I got older, I realized what he was talking about. And what he was talking about was what you were playing on film.
Mm-hmm.
Those young folks, they ain't got a damn thing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You see? In the East, the Muslims use the Holy Quran. And in the Holy Quran, it says that persecution is worse than slaughter. People would rather die than to be persecuted. And that's what those young people are showing you. You see, as a psychologist, that what do hurt people do? Hurt people hurt people.
Right.
Ruined people do what? They ruin people.
Right.
Destroyed people do what? They destroy people.
True.
And whipped people do what? They whip on people.
Yep. And all of it is a precursor to brokenness.
Yes.
And the lack of family, the lack of spirituality, the lack of faith. And like I said, man, and I got to go after this, but you know what? But it's a pleasure to have you on. But I got to go. But I'll say this before I leave, Brother T.
Give me a couple of more.
People always say that, how can I say it? They always say that there's always been lawlessness, and that's true. There's nothing new under the sun. But I've never seen it proliferate to the level it's proliferate now. But like I said, I'm about to go. I'm gonna give you about two more minutes. I gotta go. But real quick, go ahead, because I gotta go. Go ahead, brother.
See, there's only you talked about it. You're the only one with the solution. You mentioned it in your show. Mm-hmm. There's only one problem here. That one problem is the systematic killing of the black father.
Right. Yes, sir.
The black father stops all problems. The black father is the policeman in the house. Mm-hmm. He's the security guard. Why? Because a father teaches a child and a family how to love, and how to value things, and how to cherish life. That's gone. Mm-hmm. The black female's favorite saying is, I don't need no man. 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 Mm-hmm. How is that working for you? Mm-hmm. Now, look here. You didn't show the 6-year-old that brought the gun to school and shot somebody. You didn't show that 10-year-old asked mama to order him a headset off Amazon. She didn't, and he killed her. A 10-year-old boy deleted his mama. A 10-year-old boy deleted his mama. You didn't even go into that. You see? And the Kerner Commission of 1968. You're gonna see more. You're gonna see more of these flash riots, is what they call them, because of what you're talking about here, brother. The Kerner Commission in 1968. Here we go with the 60s again. Said that there are why is there rioting? Rioting broke out all over America in 1968, I think it was. And the government gave a Kerner Commission study, and they came to 2 reasons why it happened. TV, and I forgot the other reason, but their conclusion was that there are two separate societies in America, one rich and white, one poor and black. And the only solution to this problem was black inclusion in the society, economically, socially, politically, culturally. And they said their diagnosis and prognosis was, if this isn't changed by 1985, it would be too late for America. And one day America would go up in flames, the whole country. Mm-hmm. But again, we honor you because you're the only one on you. You're the main one on YouTube with enough sense to get off your ass and put your face in a book and study psychology, because that's where the solution is. That's where our answers lie.
Yeah. It's going to start with having strong systems, man. That's why I always say, Brother T, that the system must be synchronized, and it must be synchronized at a high level in order to get the outcomes people need and want. And we can talk good all day until you have a synchronized system, man. It's going to continue to be a de-evolution, man. And it's going to continue to happen, sadly. And I do believe that we are in a state of time consistent with theology, that we're in the latter part of the last days. I believe that.
Yes, sir.
I've never seen a world this crazy before, man. And it appears to be getting crazy by the minute.
Yes, sir.
Anytime up is down and down is up. Anytime we're trying to debate on what a person is, that lets you know that we're in a Romans 1 generation. I got some things I need to work on as well.
We don't even know the difference between a little boy and a little girl no more.
Right. Well, the Winans made a song back in the day called "Bring Back the Days of Yea and Nay," and they were singing that song back in the 80s.
Right.
And it's gotten a lot worse. It's gotten a lot worse since then, man. So it is what it is. But anyway, man, much love and blessings. Thank you for showing love, man. Thank you for everybody that tuned in, man. And I'll see you guys, man. We about to sign off. Shout out to my man Sword C for the 5.
Hello,
I appreciate it, brother Sword C for the 5. Thank you, sir.
Right? Because you are
And
talking
brother, you're
to kids.
Dynamite.
A dynamite! You're dynamite!
All right. All right, guys. Thank you, Sword C. So we about to sign off. And thank you guys once again. All right?
God bless you and your family, brother.
Thank you, sir. Be good, brother.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right, guys. We're signing off, and you guys have been emasculated. Go check out the book by my man Edward Fields IV, and Emasculated. Go check that book out because some of you may have been emasculated. And thank you guys for tuning in. Have you been distressed or perplexed? Emasculated, a book written by Edward Fields IV. Everything that needs to be known about men in modern time. Listen. Men are not complex, they are misunderstood and unappreciated. Learn what men really feel, think, and desire. Also observe their struggle for acceptance, love, and belonging. A must read for every man in this classic book by Edward Fields IV, Emasculated. Go get your copy now. Fire for your mind. The Culture Clinician.
If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dope them. This is our culture, now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues, asking fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you, all a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to. Damn, lovers, haters acting like vultures. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is Kosher Condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Condition. 7 wonders, the whole world